All right, everyone. Normally, the remains of the dead in most cultures are revered or at the very least respected. They're given a place of their own or disposed of with reverence of some sort. And people leave the dead, sort of where they lay. That's no longer the case in Venezuela. Things have become so dire there that people are robbing graves now, apparently, to, get jewelry and gold teeth and shit. That's usually a bad sign when that begins to happen in a society. I'm surprised, though, why aren't they selling the bones on the black market? Do you know how much human bones are actually worth? It's a niche market. There aren't that many people that want to buy them. You know how much that a medical model skull that's been properly, opened up to display the inside, you know how much that is on, like, eBay or something? Like a real human skull? Man, for the cost of that, some Venezuelan digs up one dead body and sells the skeleton in pieces or at whole. That would be more than a yearly salary down there. I've actually considered buying a human skull. Like, I don't see it as disrespectful, because the ones that you'll find available are ones where the person, they willed their body to science, something like that, so lab skulls, basically. And so, some school closes, some hospital closes, they got a bunch of literal skeletons in their closet, and they liquidate it or something to make money. I don't see a problem with it. Some people have made human bone instruments, like woodwind flutes out of leg bones and stuff like that. I know there was a band called Hexentans that unfortunately only, I think, ever made one or two albums. Really good music. They used medieval period instruments and human bone. Like the flute in there was made with a human arm bone, if I remember correctly. I think the drums were partially bone as well. Interesting music, very occult. On the darker side of the occult, for those of you who are into fluff bunny stuff, avoid at all costs. You will be bewitched by demons. But, I mean, this is real socialism. Real socialism centralizes things, crushes your economy because central planning inevitably falls flat. That's just the way that it works because of human, nature being as it is. And then you have to deal with people robbing, your loved ones' graves at night. I'm sure some people probably sleep in among the tombs. It's probably more comfortable than the decaying commie blocks that don't even have electricity and plumbing anyway. By the way, if you're in a half-finished, like, Chavez-era commie block, one that was going up when the collapse happened and everyone wandered off to go to Colombia, and you don't have plumbing, you don't have electricity or something like that, like, where do you poop? Like, do they have, like, outhouses set up, like, outside? Like, what if you're on the top floor and you really gotta go? I guess you have to go to the window or something like that to fucking use a bucket and dump it out. I'm sure that stuff like that happens. I mean, it's total squalor, and the thing is, the Venezuelan people deserve so much more. They literally are sitting on top of an ocean of oil. They had every advantage. If just it hadn't been run by socialists, if they had been free marketeers, they'd be glowingly first world right now. It would look like Hong Kong, only better. It would look like Singapore, only better. It would look like Dubai, only bigger. Venezuela would be like the Mecca of the Americas right now if it hadn't been for central planning. I still get moron socialists trying to defend Chavez and trying to defend socialism as a system, saying, no, it's because of U.S. sanctions. And I keep pointing out to them that U.S. sanctions only truly began this year on Venezuela. Until then, there were no general sanctions at all, no embargoes at all. The U.S. had taken a hands-off approach because of the oil question, largely. The U.S. doesn't want to have to pay more for fuel because that oil is now off the market because of U.S. sanctions. Hurts us at the pump. The fact that we're sanctioning it now is hurting us at the pump. Have you seen the oil prices? I mean, they're not as high as they were, multiple years ago, but they're higher than they have been. Look at the price of oil and then look at the price at the pump. There's a huge discrepancy there. Things like this don't help, and then OPEC dicking around all the time doesn't help either. Price of fuel at the pump should be like $1 a gallon right now. It shouldn't be fucking, what is it, $2.50 or $2.60 or something? I'm lucky because I don't have to drive out often, so I don't have to gas up often. But, I mean, come on. Venezuela should have been a wealthy country. It should be first world. The people of Venezuela right now should be living a palatial lifestyle, not squatting in commie block squalor and robbing graves. But, I mean, if you have to, don't just take the jewelry. Fucking take the bones and sell them. It's a dead body. They're not going to miss it. Who fucking gives a shit? If let's say that I get buried, somewhere. And by the way, I'm going to have a round gravestone, like a spherical one, because there are so many urban legends around spherical gravestones that it'll automatically impart, me as part of that urban legend almost certainly. So on Halloween, kids will come to get spooky and stuff, and then they'll hear an owl hooting and go running off. Maybe somebody makes a movie about it like 100 years from now. Holographic projection theater play or something like that. Should be really funny. Should look into that. You're on Broadway. Look into holographic projections as a method of having some fun with the audience. But yeah, and I'm an occultist, so obviously that helps a little bit too. But I wouldn't care if someone dug out my dead body. Just leave the skull, please. That's the only important thing. Leave the skull and my ring there, and you can sell the rest of my bones. Although I've thought about having those like ground up and literally turned into like bone meal. Use that on the garden. So like the pagan side of me wants to do that, and the weird side of me kind of wants to leave like maybe a hand or something to my family. Like this is the bones of Styx Hexenhammer's hand that clanked his spoon so many times. Sort of as a family heirloom, and I'll have him put like occult symbols all over it and shit like that. I know I'm waxing. I know this has nothing to do with socialism. See, in socialism, the state owns your dead body, so I'm sure Maduro will crack down on this because he'll say, hey, 70% of the proceeds from those bones you're selling need to go to the state to prop up the debt spending. That's about all. Peace out.